Hello, everyone. It's your friend Rick. It is Monday evening. It is April the 1st, 2019. If you need to reach me because you are interested in finding out how you can get my paperwork, you send me an email to rick0327@me.com. Okay, please keep the emails brief. All right, it's just you're emailing me because you're interested in receiving the paperwork. Please do not email me telling me about your problems. I'm sorry. The only way I can help you is by you receiving my paperwork. That's the best thing I can tell you. I have a lot of paperwork. A lot. All right. There was a video posted this weekend. High frequency radio, good channel, excellent stuff. And what he does, he'll post videos from other channels as well. And it was about suing support magistrates and judges. Hey guys, I've done that video already. Okay, so those of you that sent it to me, I had about a dozen people send it to me. Thank you, but I'm well aware of it. Okay, I consider myself an expert in New York State. Okay, so everything that guy said, I knew already. And I've been telling you guys the information that guy was talking about. I've been giving that information to you guys for a long time already. Okay, I even have paperwork. Those of you to have my paperwork, you already have paperwork. Here we go. Affidavits to sue judges and fake judges. You have it already. I gave it to you. You already have it. Okay, I provide paperwork for almost every situation. I give you the tools to win. Okay? I'm not responsible for the outcome. All right? I should have won a lot more cases than I have. Okay? We're dealing with corruption. All right? I'm just, there's no way around it. Okay? But I'm always looking for ways, to put these people on the defensive. And I have today personal jurisdiction. And why the courts must have it to proceed. Okay, the courts must have personal jurisdiction. How do they get it? Well, the first way they get it is by, now, pay attention. One of my guys reached out to me. He's like, "Hey Rick, can you do a video on this?" And it's funny that he asked me. I was already going to do this video. If you receive notice by mail, that is not being personally served. You have to be personally served to show up. But again, listen, these people, they do whatever they want anyway. They'll consider themselves that you were served. But if you put it on paper that you were not personally served, and for that reason you lack personal jurisdiction, then they're kind of screwed because it's recorded on paper. And then they have to rebut it. Okay, so that's what we do. So you must be personally served. All right, so I even read somewhere that technically a member, an employee of the court must personally serve you. That these process servers, it's considered. I just read this I forgot where over the weekend someplace, that even a process server serving you is hearsay because that man or woman does not work for the court. They're an agent. They're an independent agent. Okay, so it's hearsay. That person would have to come into court and testify on the very first day. Okay, I mean they swear out an affidavit, but sometimes a lot of times these process servers they'll stick it on your door. they'll claim they gave it to somebody. One of my subscribers had that happen. Says, "Oh, I gave it to a blonde girl." He goes, "I don't have a blonde girl living in my house." Things like that. All right, but that's one way of the court to have personal jurisdiction. You must be personally served. Okay. All right. So let's. What we're gonna again. You're gonna. What we're working on is sending paperwork to the court before you show. Remember, I tell you guys, you have to file paperwork before you go to court. It's very important. Okay. Because when you show up and you don't file anything, you're done. Again, it's hard already, even with the paperwork. Again, we're dealing with bullies. But once you file paperwork and they don't respond, then you could take it from there. You can say that they defaulted. All right, you could file an objection. You can demand clarification. I have to remind you guys all the time. Whenever they dismiss your paperwork, whether it be, well, most of the time it's just dismissed. They do it vocally. You have to yell objection, or you file a written objection. I get it all the time. Hey, Rick, they denied the paperwork. All right, what do I do next? And I say it all the time. You have to file an objection. Okay? You got to file an objection. Let me just get this out of the way real fast. Listen, I don't brag, but I got really good paperwork. I don't like bragging. I'm not comfortable bragging, but I'm going to brag. My paperwork's really good, and I could definitely get 5 times the amount that I'm asking, but I cannot help you guys because most of you can't afford the paperwork, and that's All right, but here's another thing. I got people all the time. Hey Rick, it's like the dog ate my homework. Hey Rick, I deleted the paper. Hey, if you deleted the paperwork, I tell you guys, you can go into your inbox of your email, and there's a history of all the emails. All you gotta do is, copy and paste my email address. You put it in the inbox, and the whole history of my email should come up, and that's how you get it. And if you can't find it that way, you're out of luck. Okay, it's not my fault. So I got to resend all the paperwork to you. First of all, some of you, if you got my paperwork last year, I have a lot of new paperwork, and it's not fair to other people because people, I've had people send me additional gift for the updated paperwork. It's not fair to them. I wouldn't do that. So if your paperwork was deleted, then you're gonna have to send me some more money, another gift. I'm sorry. All right. All right. So here we go. Before a court can exercise power over a party, this is the United States Constitution requires that the party has certain minimal contacts with the forum in which the court sits. All right, they're talking about the state. You have to, in order for a state to have jurisdiction or personal jurisdiction, you have to reside in that state. So a lot of you, if you never sat, a lot of you, if you weren't served in the state where they're enforcing child support, they don't have personal jurisdiction over you. Okay, so let's say Pennsylvania's screwing you, but they never served you in Pennsylvania. They don't have jurisdiction over you. They don't have personal jurisdiction over you. You have to be, when they serve you with a summons, when they personally serve you, you have to be in that state for them to have personal jurisdiction over you. Okay, let me see something here. All right, here it is. This is basically what I have there. Now, what the courts rely on, this is very important why you have to contest personal jurisdiction out of the box. So the best way is to do it by paper. Submitting paperwork where you're contesting personal jurisdiction. The courts rely upon your ignorance. Okay? I also hope you get a lawyer, because a lawyer is never going to contest jurisdiction. Never. They never contest jurisdiction. And if you try to get them to do it, they'll blah, 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 blah. You don't want to piss off the judge, or they give you all these reasons why they don't have to. But and I'm telling you right here, read right here. Waiving personal jurisdiction. Personal jurisdiction can generally be waived. Contrast this with subject matter jurisdiction, which cannot be waived. So if the party being sued appears in court without objecting to the court's lack of personal jurisdiction, the court will assume that the defendant is waiving any challenge to personal jurisdiction. So if you do not say anything, it stands. Okay? So that's why it's very important that you object from or contest. Okay? Obtaining personal jurisdiction. Typically for a court to have personal jurisdiction over a defendant, the plaintiff needs to serve the defendant in the state in which the court sits. And I just said that before. And the defendant needs to voluntarily appear in court. So what I'm telling you guys to do with my paperwork is file the paperwork challenging, contesting personal jurisdiction, and then you do not have to show up. Okay? And then they cannot hold you in default. In order for them to hold you in default, they have to rebut all the facts that we provide saying you do not have personal jurisdiction. So we're going to say it is a fact you do not have personal jurisdiction. And they're going to have to rebut it. Okay? What they do is, the way it usually works is you receive, usually in the mail, that you have to show up. If you don't show up, your license may be suspended. If you don't show up, you may be incarcerated. These are things, what are they doing? They're scaring you to show up. And then here's another thing. When you show up, if you do not make the statement that I am not making a general appearance. That's another thing. I am not here to make a general appearance. I am only here so it is on the record that I am contesting these proceedings. I am challenging this court to prove personal jurisdiction. And I demand it in writing. And these proceedings cannot move forward until this is achieved. And what they normally do is they ignore you. And then you got to keep objecting. All right, again, this is not easy stuff. You know, my last video kind of sucked. I apologize. I kind of mailed it in. I apologize. You know, it can happen from time to time. You know, my heart wasn't in it. And I said that it took me 4 years. It took me 4 years because I didn't have anybody to help me. Okay, it shouldn't take you guys 4 years. If you do everything right, it can happen right away. Again, I've helped people get off child support. I've helped people get the arrears vacated. Okay? So it can be done. It didn't take 4 years. So, all right. And also be careful. There's other channels out there. I'm telling you, they're claiming, whatever. There are haters out there hating on me. If you want to listen to them, go right ahead. They're only hating on me because I'm really good at this. Okay? They don't hate on my paper, I could tell you that. All right, so let's get back here. All right, so what is personal jurisdiction and why the courts must have it to proceed? Failure to do the following will result in you submitting to jurisdiction. Okay, I gave that to you, right? So a lot of times I'll already tell you by me speaking to you guys what's on my slides. All right. Here's something very important, all right, that I discovered. I'll get it to it right after here. This is every state is a mirror image of the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act. Okay, I've looked at about 10 states and every one is the same. Okay, they're all mirror images. They might be called something else. It might be called a different statute. Like in New York, it's called the Family Court Act, but it's under Article 5B. They're slick, okay? Here it is, under the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, Article 2, Section 201, it is required the individual submits to the jurisdiction of this state by consent in a record, by entering a general appearance, or by filing a responsive document having the effect. Here's the thing. If you're filing a responsive document contesting personal jurisdiction, it's not the same as what they're claiming here. Okay? By filing a responsive document having the effect of waiving any contest. You're not doing that. You got to be a moron to do that. You know who does that? People who hire lawyers. So when a lawyer writes out paperwork for you, the lawyer is helping them out. Okay? So I'm giving you an example of why lawyers hurt you. All right? They're working against you. Remember what I told you. The individual is personally served with a citation, summons, notice within this state. Okay? This is my own. This means that service by mail is not consistent with personal service. I just had a guy mail back, and he wrote it on the envelope. This was mailed to me. It was not personally served to me. Thereby, it is not consistent with the uniform interstate. Blah blah blah. Now, let me show you this real fast. Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, Section 201, basis for jurisdiction over non-resident. I was suspicious of this. I'm like, why do they keep saying non-resident? And I remember a couple of videos ago, I said I have a feeling what they mean by non-resident is somebody who is not domiciled within District of Columbia, Virgin Islands, blah, blah, blah. Remember that, guys? That's exactly what it means. Okay, that also means that the federal uniform family interstate, that's why they got to make state versions of it, is not enforceable outside of Washington, D.C. Okay, so I looked up non-resident. Also, the Cornell Law School here, remember I was showing you guys, they do not let me, any definition words, they let me do this. Any words for a definition, they don't let me do it anymore. So I'm not allowed to look up the definitions anymore. So I was trying to click on the word non-resident, and they wouldn't let me do it. All right, so I had to use my phone. So I had to look up what a non-resident was on my phone, and it took me here. The definition of a non-resident, 17 CFR 240. Non-resident means, in the case of an individual, also you're not an individual. Okay, you know what an individual is? Is a person. It's a dead entity. Okay, well, I'll show you in a little while. One who resides, you don't reside, you're domiciled. One who resides in or has his principal office and place of business in any place not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Well, what is that? Where's the jurisdiction of the United States? Okay, District of Columbia, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's what it means by non-resident. So here's the thing. You're not a non-resident. You're a man or you're a woman. Okay, so what I do with my paperwork, this is my special appearance that those of you who have my paperwork, you have it. Also with mine, the special appearance, we're challenging personal jurisdiction. So those of you that have my paperwork, you have this. Okay? And let's say you're reading it now and it's like, hey, Rick, sometimes I update these things. Freeze it and do it yourself. Okay, guys? You can add this stuff. So if you read something here that you may not have, freeze it, and then type it into your paperwork. Okay, I'm gonna tell those of you now that have my paperwork to add this line. For this court or tribunal to object to this fact, it must respond with a written rebuttal, or this court or tribunal will default, and this fact shall stand as truth. Okay? Add that to your, add that. Okay? Then what you can do is, right, then you copy, right, then you come down in the last line, right, paste and matching format, and there it is. Okay. Actually, I never copied it, so I was pasting the thing I just pasted before, but I'm just showing you what you're supposed to do. Okay. So what I do is I put it. This is a fact. The undersigned respondent is a state citizen who is contesting the court's personal jurisdiction. Also, what I do is comes now. Put your name in between the brackets, and please remove the brackets. Is a living man, or if you're a woman, a sovereign state citizen who is not a person. Okay, so right here, look what happens when I go over, the cursor goes over the footnote under 28 U.S.C. section 302 subsection 10. Person includes a natural person, including an individual Indian, so they don't consider Indians people, a corporation, a partnership, an unincorporated association. Does that sound like a man or a woman? No. Okay? And an individual is, the term person means an individual, a trust or a state or partnership. So that means you're a dead entity. So we have to correct that right out of the box. So you're a living man, a sovereign state citizen who is not a person or an individual, and is noticing the court that the child support proceedings, this is for quorum 9. I'm just showing you what I do. Okay, how I started off. I started off by noticing the court that I am not a person or an individual, that I am a living man and a sovereign state citizen. Okay? And what this is this is what I was showing you guys. Objection, fake judge, trespass. This is notice to the court, non-judicial court employees, quorum non-judice, did act without authority and jurisdiction, and when you act without authority and jurisdiction, you could be sued. Okay? See, when the guy in that video, the black guy, they are not absolutely immune, judges. Okay, that's what they want the world to believe. When a judge acts without jurisdiction, in clear absence of jurisdiction, they could be personally liable. Well, one is a judge acting without jurisdiction. As soon as they violate the Constitution, they're acting without jurisdiction. Okay? When they don't have personal jurisdiction, they're acting without jurisdiction. Okay? So, all right. So, again, so what we're doing is also we're telling them that I'm not a non-resident. I'm a man or a woman. So I'm showing you guys that I was suspicious of the word. Why they use a non-resident, and that's the reason why. It's always trickery. Okay, not being a non-resident helps to prove lack of personal jurisdiction. Okay, so again, if they're going to say Uniform Interstate Family Support Act, Section 201, I don't know why they use that word, basis. It should be BASIS for jurisdiction over non-resident. By you not being non-resident, this doesn't apply to you. Okay? All right, so we went over this. The individual submits to the jurisdiction of state by consent in a record by entering a general appearance. So that's why you have to, on paper, inform these people you're not making a general appearance. Also, you could do it verbally. I rather you do it on paper, and then you could do it verbally, but make sure you do it on paper first. Okay? They do doctor the recordings. I've caught them doing that. That's another thing they do. They edit the recording. So if you were to go and If you got extra $1,000 laying around or whatever, $500 or $600, $700 laying around, and you want to go get the transcripts, they doctor the transcripts too. They do that all the time. Okay, so challenging personal jurisdiction before going to the court puts the court on the defensive. All right. All right, so it is a fact the respondent is a sovereign living man and is not a person as defined under 28 U.S.C. Section 302, subsection 10. Okay. And again, what I do is for this court or tribunal to object to this fact, it must respond with a written rebuttal. So if they don't respond with a rebuttal, this fact stands as truth. And then you could present it. Let's say they were to ignore this. You could present this in another court for an injunction, okay? Mandamus to compel the court, to compel them to stop, because you have proof that, doesn't it say that you have to contest? Doesn't it say you're not making a general appearance? I mean, while you do all of these things and they ignore it anyway, you have to then take it to another court. But if you have it on paper, you have proof that you filed it. This helps you. Okay. Again, they rely on you to give up. They rely on your ignorance. Well, first they rely on you getting a lawyer. If you get a lawyer, that's also, a lot of you probably know, they try and force a lawyer on you. You don't want a lawyer, because then you're submitting to the jurisdiction of the court. Okay, but then they rely on your ignorance. Well, if you're gonna come to my channel and if you're gonna reach out and receive my paperwork, you're not gonna be ignorant anymore. Okay, all you gotta do is read my paperwork. You're gonna be educated. Okay, so all right, this is just my dismissal affidavits. All right, these are all affidavits. Look at that, just for dismissals. I have so many different ones. This is the child support package. This is for, and what I did was I numbered them to make it easy for you guys. Okay, and then I have in the instructions whenever it opens up. I'll tell you this number 12 is for default. Number 15 is federal offset. You send it to the child support agency. I try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, see right here. Affidavits to court 1, 4, 5, 6. So you know what numbers you're going to send. Okay? Try and make it as easy as possible for you guys. You got to remember we're dealing with a lot of different jurisdictions, and it's not. I just can't have one set of rules or one set of instructions, and every situation is different. Okay, I try to make it as generalized as possible. Okay, well look at it. So that's, if I got 32, I'm telling you right now, I have 32 affidavits just in this folder alone. I must give you guys easily 60 affidavits, easy, for all kinds of different situations. You're not going to use all of them, but what it means is that you have, uh, you know, you have choices to make, and you pick out what fits your situation. Okay. So if there's an order, you got a contempt order against you, you got to vacate it. You got a default order, notice to vacate default. Notice to vacate contempt order quorum. See, here's another scam. They hold you in contempt if you violate a support order, but if the support order is issued by a surrogate judge or a fake judge, it's unenforceable. So you cannot be in contempt of an unenforceable judge or avoid judgment. So if any of you have been jailed because you couldn't comply with the support order issued by a commissioner, a support magistrate, you got a good lawsuit going for you. And they rely on your ignorance. Okay? But an order from a surrogate judge or quorum non judice is absolutely void based on the Supreme Court law of Virginia versus Rivas. It's an 1880 case, and I use it in my paperwork. All right, so if you're interested in the paperwork, reach out to rick0327@me.com. If you don't get my paperwork and you got to go to court, challenge personal jurisdiction. Okay? And remember, if your body is not in the state, they do not have personal jurisdiction over you. If they did not personally serve you with a summons, citation, notice, they do not have personal jurisdiction over you. Again, they need you to voluntarily show up to court. Did you read that? Remember, I showed that to you. Where does it say? Yeah. So typically for a court to have personal jurisdiction over a defendant, the plaintiff needs to serve in the state in which the court sits, and the defendant needs to voluntarily appear in court. Voluntarily. Okay, we know what that means. That means that you are showing up willingly. So if you submit paperwork challenging personal jurisdiction and then don't show up, they're going to have to disprove all your facts, rebut all your facts, and then you're covered. Okay? Put them on the defensive. All right? There's a reason why they scare you with your driver's license will be suspended, you're going to be incarcerated, because they need you to show up. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your night. Hope to hear from some of you. Talk to you later. Bye.